In 2012, the owner of this 2004 Oxford White Mustang Mach 1 purchased the car with only 18,500 miles on it. Beautiful car, low mileage. He bought it from an older gentleman in his 60s or 70s, and he loved this car. He took care of it for 8 years until he was going down the highway and he noticed that the car in front of him had swerved to avoid a big box that was in the road, and he also swerved to avoid it and slowed down, but the car behind him was going too fast and it came up behind him, crunched into the back quarter panel of the Mach 1, sending it into the guardrail and spinning around. So unfortunately, as you can see in these pictures, the car had major damage to it. The front end support's gone, the sides smashed in pretty good. The quarter panel is probably the worst of the damage. It did not deploy the airbags though. And to make things worse, the car fled from the scene. So as you can see in this picture, the car rested with only 63,000 miles. I can tell the owner is devastated over this, and he's owned the car since 18,000 miles. Really nice car, but unfortunately this car is totaled. As far as the options on this car in Rarity are concerned, you can tell that it's a 5-speed manual car, mostly by the gauge cluster. It has the high tach that redlines at 6,800 RPM. The automatic would have had a lower redline, and you can also see in these pictures that it has the interior upgrade package. So that makes it one of 623 Oxford White Mach 1s that were made in 2004 with the interior upgrade package. And the car would be one of 515 Oxford White Mach 1s in 2004 that were 5-speed manual cars. I often talk in my videos about how these cars are disappearing, and this is what happens to cars as they get driven, and they do come into accidents sometimes, and it's really sad that this happens. That quarter panel's crunched really bad. And we don't really know how many Mach 1s are getting wrecked every year. You do see them show up on Copart websites, totaled, and then when something like this happens, we actually do get people on the Facebook page for the Mach 1s coming out of the woodwork and showing pictures of their totaled Mach 1s and saying this happened to me recently, like this guy had posted a picture. But in those same comments you have people like the owner of this zinc yellow Mach 1 who says, I'm looking for the hood, let me buy your hood because I want to put mine back on the road and I'm trying to fix it up. So it's good to see that other people are making an effort to put these cars back together, and we know that the parts from the wrecked ones help put these ones back together as well, but it's really sad. I would hope that people would try to fix as many of these as possible. But this is another Mach 1 right here where the owner had said, I'm putting mine back together, this is what it looked like, and this is how it looks now. It's a work in progress, but I'm trying to get it back on the road. And here another owner of a dark shadow gray Mach 1 chimed in and said, this is what mine looked like, and now this is what it looks like. So it is nice to see these cars getting fixed. I think they're loved enough that people are wanting to do that. But then again, if it's totaled beyond safe repair, then it is better to let these cars go as parts, and you're definitely going to find people who want these cars for parts. There were a lot of people in the comments who were saying buy the car back and fix it. Some were saying buy the car back and part it out to the rest of us, because this was on the Mach 1 Facebook page. So there's a lot of people on there who need parts for these cars. And the owner seemed like either he wasn't very familiar with buying a car back from the insurance and how that works, and I understand that can be kind of scary. I've gone through that process once with my brother's Mustang, and sometimes the insurance makes you feel like you're not allowed to get it back because they want to just sell it at auction. But a lot of times you do have the right to buy your car back, and you can do whatever you want with it. And sometimes they make the buyback price very high. They'll say, oh yeah, you can buy the car back for $4,000 or $5,000, and then it makes it so that all you'd really do is get your money back out of the parts, and that's not a good situation. But some insurance companies will let you buy a car like this back for $2,000 to $3,000, and you know that just selling the engine is going to get you your money back on that, and then you can sell the interior and drivetrain and everything, especially with a low mile car like this with only 63,000 miles on it. So I don't know if the owner is going to be doing that, but somebody will get this car if it goes to Copart and it goes through the insurance, the auctions, and so hopefully the parts of this car will live on in other Mustangs. Sometimes after an accident like this, The only thing the owner wants to do is just get rid of the car and be done with it and not have to look at it anymore and just take the money and buy something else. And that's where it's even harder to buy something back, is when they give you a good check. Say they gave him 12 to 15,000 for this car, and he takes that check and now he wants to go buy a truck or a Coyote or something he was talking about. Then it makes it hard to take an extra 3,000 out of that to buy the car and part it out and do all that work, where he'd rather just take the money and go get something new. So anyway, that's a really sad situation. I love these Mach 1s, especially in Oxford White. It's hard to see a car like this get totaled, and it's sad to see it in the yard with all these other mediocre cars that have been wrecked, and see a rare '04 Oxford White Mustang Mach 1 wrecked and totaled like that. So it's really sad to see. Now, some people on the page were kind of rude to him. They were saying that it was his fault, he was following too close, he could have avoided it. And whether that be true or not, it really doesn't matter. And I feel bad for him posting these pictures and trying to get support from the group and people jumping on him. There's always those type of people in the group. So if you're one of those people, stop being that kind of person. Be supportive and kind to people. If you don't have anything good to say, then move on, because this is really a hard time for this guy. He's had this car for 8 years. So hopefully the memory of this car will live on, and the parts definitely on other Mustangs, hopefully other Mach 1s that need the parts. Really sad to see, but I just wanted to make a video about the car, a little bit about the story. Just mention how long he's owned the car. This was his first Mustang, so it's very special to him, and it's really sad to see it go like that. I always worry about somebody totaling my car, and that's something we can't avoid. And it's really sad and unjust when you see such a nice car get totaled, yet you see a bunch of other clunker beater cars going down the road that nobody really cares about, and they survive, and these cars don't. So remember to subscribe to the channel and stay tuned for more of these Mustang stories.